LRBT2, Flaw, question 6. So we have two groups, or two people here. Jean is responding to Anita. So we're trying to figure out how exactly does Jean respond to Anita. So Anita is the first one to speak. And she talks about a spotted owl population that's declined. And she says that timber companies are the reason why the number in the population has declined. Jean responds by saying, no, it's not due to the timber companies, but to a rival species of owl. And then she talks about the barred owl versus, the spotted owl. And so Jean is basically taking issue with Anita's conclusion about like why that owl population has declined. So Anita thinks it's the timber, Jean thinks it's the barred owl. So we're going to look for something along those lines in our answer choices. A, denies the truth of Anita's premise that timber companies have been clearing old growth forests. Anita doesn't really care. She doesn't really talk about Anita's premise at all. She really is disagreeing with the conclusion, or Anita's conclusion. B, challenges Anita's assumption that the decline in population of the spotted owl poses a threat to the species' continued survival. She doesn't point out Anita's assumptions, and we don't know that the spotted owl population decline is going to affect continued survival. We don't go there at all whatsoever. C, proposes an alternative explanation for the decline in the spotted owl population. This is what we're looking for. She's saying it's not the timber company, it's the barred owl. D, argues that Anita's conclusion is not valid because she has failed to consider the spotted owl population over a long enough time period. This one's interesting because we talk about 1960. Jean is talking about the past 3 decades. We should keep in mind that this is going to be a trickier question for us because this problem was written in the 90s. So we would have, like if we had taken this test in the 90s, we would have been much more in tune about what the last 3 decades were. But here, since we're taking it in the current time, we want to be really careful because at least the time that this is being recorded, it's 2021. So the past 3 decades are going to be, starting in the 90s. So D would definitely appeal to us, taking it in the 2021 or beyond. But this question was written in the 90s. Regardless, even if Anita was talking about considering a different time period, Anita or Jean, if that was Jean's concern, she would have had to explicitly state it and long enough. Jean, even if we were talking today, past 3 decades versus 1960, that's still a longer time period than Jean is speaking of. So it wouldn't be great because then Anita would be looking at a longer time period and Jean would have to address the fact that Jean's own reasoning tackles a shorter time period. All that to say, we're not talking about long time periods in the spotted owl population over a long enough time period. She's not saying the conclusion is invalid because of time periods. She really just disagrees with the cause of the population declining. E, suggests that Anita has overlooked the possibility that spotted owls are able to live in forests that are not old growth forests. We really don't care where they're living. That's just not what's going to be helpful here. Jean is only talking about the barred owl, replacing the spotted owl in its habitat. That's it. So C is going to be the best answer here for this question.